Once again, you find us on the third floor at the Rhode Island State House in a segment we call Capitol Spotlight, where we directly put the spotlight on a member of the General Assembly and talk to them about legislation that's before them, things that are of interest and concern to them, and how it might impact you, the Rhode Island citizen. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome a gentleman to Capitol Spotlight today, representing the Rhode Island House of Representatives, Representative Bob Phillips. Representative, it's good to see you, sir.
Nice seeing you too, Dave. Thanks for having me.
You know, as everybody talks about the economy and growing jobs, you have some interesting legislation that we were talking before the taping. I said, how could anybody not be before this? You want to give new businesses that hire 2 or more people a tax incentive if they hire people and retain people. That's oversimplified. Tell our viewers a little bit more of the detail.
Well, it's not oversimplified in your words. It is pretty simple. We've got the reputation of being business unfriendly, so what I want to do is I want to try and give a shot in the arm to the state of Rhode Island to hire people, to open companies up here, and let the world know that the business climate is changing in Rhode Island. So what it is for the first 3 years, if a business comes into the city, or into the state I should say, I'm hoping for my city, but you know, if they come into the state and it's not family members, we're going to give them 50% tax break on their corporate taxes for 3 years and 25% for the next 3 years, and it ends after that. So it's a finite period of time, and if you look at it in simplified terms, right now we have 100% of nothing because no businesses are coming in, so at least we'll have 50% and 75% of a certain amount of money.
Well, and I'll tell you something else, and you touched on it during that answer. You've taken the relative equation out of it so that people couldn't hustle the system by putting their niece, nephew, sons, daughters all on the payroll in order to get the to get the tax break. You've thought of that, and I think that that's only fair, and I think that's reasonable. And again, we're talking about creating jobs, and when you create jobs, you generate other tax revenue as a result of those jobs.
Correct. You generate, not only that do you generate the income tax from the employees, but they also have disposable income that they'll spend in other businesses in the localities, and hopefully that'll generate more business for them.
You know, Rep, and again, just looking at it at first blush, when I was reading the legislation, one of the things that occurred to me, this would really appeal to that man or woman who's kind of on the fence going, should I, business is getting a little bit better, should I stick my neck out a little bit and hire a couple more folks? I think this might be the nudge that business owner needs.
Well, this is mainly for new businesses, though, Dave. It's not for existing businesses. I'm trying to find legislation for for existing businesses, so that may be coming down the road, but I ran into some snags, so I didn't want to introduce something that wasn't going to be overly simplified for the state here.
Well, even the new business, I mean, again, that can be the kind of catalyst that says, the husband says to the wife, honey, let's go for it. Let's start this business that we've talked about long enough. Now we can get a little bit of help from the state if we hire a couple of people. And again, I think it's anything that can, but as Abraham Lincoln said, before you have employees, you must have employers. And this might be the thing that gets people off the mark.
Which is what we're hoping for right now, Dave.
Well, again, I wish you the very best with that. It'll be interesting to watch and see what happens. Where does it stand right now?
Well, I've already asked for a hearing, and it should be coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm hoping to have that hearing done, and we'll just follow and see what happens.
Rep, I know, too, you've been concerned about the goings-on at the wastewater treatment plant in your community. Bring the citizens there up to speed and our viewers as to what's happening with that project.
Well, by mandate, we have to upgrade our wastewater treatment plant by 2013 at this point. So we have to have a plant built and online by 2013. Where the representatives in Woonsocket, both Rep. Baldelli Hunt, Rep. Brian, and myself, put forth legislation to put off this project to even start until 2017 because of the dire financial straits not only the state's in, but the city is in.
So what you're trying to do is right now in the short run, save the community that expense.
Well, true, because it's going to cost between $30 and $40 million. We'll have to go out to bond, and at this point, the city of Woonsocket just absolutely cannot afford to have another bond.
So you're not saying scrap the whole idea. You're just saying give us some breathing room. Let's buy a little time here.
Correct. Let's get ourselves back on our financial foot. You know, everybody out there knows how dire the city of Woonsocket is, not only with the school department, with the city side and everything else. So we need to buy some time to try and get ourselves fiscally sound again so we can move this project forward.
Well, Representative Phillips, thank you so much for talking to us. Interesting stuff you're working on, and we'll be watching closely. And as it develops, we'll have to get you back to talk about it again. Thank you so much for giving of your time to us here on Capitol Spotlight.
Thank you, David. I hope to hear from you soon.
And, of course, we couldn't do it without you, the viewer. Thank you so much for tuning in. Capitol Spotlight from the third floor of the Rhode Island State House.